its light, not just disabled people as the subject of stories, but disabled people leading the storytelling process itself. This can only be achieved when companies commit to genuine inclusion in media, marketing, and creative leadership. On our next panel, Nothing Without Us, The Power of Authentic Representation, explores exactly this, moving beyond good intentions to the practical ways of working and to the everyday decisions across marketing and media that make authentic representation standard, not exceptional. Moderating this discussion is Palesa Mosia, speaker, entrepreneur, and actor, who will be joined by Isaac Zablocki, CEO of ReelAbilities Film Festival, Giles Barker, Workplace Disability Lead from Channel 4, Martina Fuga, President of CoorDown, whose campaign you've just enjoyed, and Sam Latif, Company Accessibility Leader from Procter & Gamble.
Disability can affect any of us in some way. It could be as a result of a car accident where you find yourself disabled. It could be giving birth to a child that has a disability. Or it could be as a result of old age where you find yourself needing the help of an assistive aid. Either way, when it does touch you in any way, shape, or form, you need a soft landing. You need a world that is inclusive, a world that understands that a thriving society is one where everyone is included. Good morning. Oh, good afternoon, rather. I'm Palesa Mosia. My audio description can become a bit tricky because if I said I'm a white woman with long blonde hair, you might assume I'm Caucasian. So I have to be a bit more descriptive. I am a black woman with albinism, hence the pale complexion, and I have long blonde hair, and today it is braided and cornrows at the same time. And I'm feeling fantastic to be running this panel titled Nothing Without Us, because nothing beats lived experience. Hello, my panel, the best looking panel of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, in order for me to be here today, it took quite a feat. And I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to Carney, because they also collaborated with the Valuable 500 in creating a tool I'm very excited about, which is the Authentic Representation Tool. Carney also made it possible for me to be here today, so a big shout out to Joanne, all the way in South Africa, and to the chairman in the room, and also to Neil. I would like my panel to please briefly introduce yourselves, and I run a tight ship, ladies and gentlemen, so by brief, I do mean brief, and then tell us, what lens do you join this discussion from? And we'll start with you, sir.
I'm Isaac Zablocki. I'm the CEO of ReelAbilities, and I'll self-describe myself. I'm a very pale man with wearing navy blue, a lot of navy blue today. And the lens that I come to with is really, we have an example of how disability can be appropriately represented. And the authenticity, we do it, we feel we have the golden standard with our film festival and all the other programs we create. Thank you.
Golden standard. We're gonna test it. I'm kidding. Next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Giles Barker. I'm the Workplace Disability Lead for Channel 4. I'm a 56-year-old white man with silver grey hair wearing a black shirt and trousers, shiny purple shoes and a purple jacket. And I'm living with multiple health conditions.
Thank you.
皆様、こんにちは。私は
Hello everyone, I am Martina.
I'm a white woman in my 50s. I'm brown hair, and today I'm wearing a navy jacket and a burgundy top and trousers. And I'm the president of CoorDown and also the mother of a young woman with Down syndrome.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sam Latif, Company Accessibility for Procter & Gamble. So the lens I'm coming here with is being one of the largest advertisers in the world. How do we make sure our advertising is inclusive and accessible to everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So by show of hands in the room, who has ever approved work that features disabled people? Do you see any hands?
There's some hands.
Oh, okay. I also have a visual impairment, so I don't see you. And to those hands, I'm going to ask a question now where I will allow you to put up your hands in your mind. In the work that you do, how many of you have had people that are disabled be a part of the process or lead the process? And if you're proud and you've done it, you're welcome to raise your hand proudly. I need your help again. Do we have hands?
You got hands.
Fewer than before?
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You got double hands.
Please give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Because we live in a world where people say they include us, and then they don't involve us in the including of us. And we end up with gadgets that we can't use or that are embarrassing to use, and systems that don't work for us. So thank you for involving us in the work that you do. 18% of the global population is people that are disabled, and yet only 1% of advertising represents them. And even in that 1%, 98% of them feel misrepresented. Now that means a whole, where's the figure now in dollars? About $18 trillion of our spend goes untapped. The statistics don't lie. Now I'm going to start with my first panel member. Giles, you work for Channel 4, correct?
That's correct.
Channel 4 is seen as a global leader in disability representation. What is your single most effective commissioning rule to hiring protocol rather, something people here in HR and in leadership can use and adapt, and it will reliably get them to ensure that they have disabled talent in their organizations in the right way?
Okay, so I'm going to kind of skirt around this and kind of come at it from a holistic point of view and then come to the answer to that question. So I'm really here to talk about accurate representation of disabled people in content and advertising.
Yeah.
And you can definitely do that by hiring disabled people. So my talk today will give you an introduction to Channel 4 and how we're encouraging the creative and marketing industries to think differently about content and marketing through a range of industry-leading guides and advertising awards.
Okay.
So at Channel 4 is a public service broadcaster based in the United Kingdom. We're publicly owned but commercially funded. We represent unheard voices and challenge with purpose to create change through entertainment. My focus is on driving disability inclusion through workplace leadership, peer network advocacy, industry partnership, and government collaboration. As a result of my work, I'm proud to share that at Channel 4, that through listening and adapting, I've actually doubled the amount of people sharing they have a neurodiverse condition, impairment or long-term condition to 25%, i.e. 1 in 4 people. Oh, let me just move on 2 seconds. So I'm going to talk about the Disability Code of Portrayal. Channel 4's creative equity team have created this industry-leading guide to shape our editorial content and programming. And I'll give you some examples from the guidance. We give disabled people agency. In the spirit of nothing about us without us, disabled people in our content have their own voice and tell their own stories wherever possible. We show disabled people in 3 dimensions. Disabled people are more than just their condition or impairment. They are well-rounded characters with other identities and experiences. We have empathy with, rather than sympathy for, disabled people. We work alongside disabled people and seek to understand their experiences before claiming to know them. And we seek and consider accurate representation to showcase the full spectrum of disabled experiences and meaningful talent development. And we have our own Diversity in Advertising Award, which has been running for 10 years. So Channel 4 first launched the awards with a core ambition at its heart, to challenge the advertising industry to better reflect society in the UK. As part of our commitment to innovation, and with this year marking, as I said, 10 years of the awards, we continue to challenge advertisers to think inclusively about their marketing. We allocate £1 million worth of advertising airtime to the winning campaign, driving creativity that moves beyond tokenism and fosters systemic change in advertising practices. Our goal is to ensure marketing and advertising campaigns authentically and accurately reflect diverse lived experiences and broaden audience reach. And we have pledged, this is all about action, we have pledged that from spring 2026, all Channel 4 advertising on our linear platforms will require closed captions, reinforcing our commitment to inclusion. And then we're just going to talk about the Disability Comms and Playbook. We've just launched, actually last week, a new guide to help brands create accurate and authentic representation of disabled people across all media advertising. In partnership with Bupa, Purple Goat and Initiative, we have developed a comprehensive resource to promote accessibility and disability inclusion within the advertising industry. The guide builds upon the Paralympic Games momentum, aiming to sustain accurate and authentic representation of disabled people in advertising well beyond the event. We know that by drawing on lived experience and specialist knowledge, brands can avoid stereotypes and deliver campaigns that truly resonate with disabled customers. And that's through co-creation, consultation, and using people with expertise. And the playbook provides action advice and links to additional learning resources. For some lucky organisations, especially in the UK, there's also a chance to access in-person workshops. So in summary, disabled people should be shown as authentic, rounded individuals, not defined solely by their disability. Our aim at Channel 4 is to reflect the true diversity of disabled people in society and challenge misrepresentation, stereotyping, and underrepresentation. Original and nuanced storytelling about disability can change attitudes, impact on behaviours, and even influence government policy. For marketeers, accurate and inclusive representation enables them to show that disabled people are everyday users of products and services, helping brands connect with disabled consumers and improve social attitudes. Back to you.
Thank you. So Giles, I'm an actor, right? And I like things to be practical. As an actor, most of the commercials that I get cast for are specifically commercials that say they're looking for a black woman with albinism. And I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not due to a lack of talent. If you are uncertain about that, I do have a movie out on Netflix Global. It's called Soweto Blaze. So you be the judge. But I find that brands only do this inclusion thing, in inverted commas, as a tick box exercise to say, we did it, we're done, we're moving on. How do we get to a point where it is normalized to have disabled people in the spotlight without it being a tick box exercise?
I will go back to my point of co-creation. So when you're designing the ad, when you're engaging people with lived experience, ask them, do they want to be front and center, or does the disability want to be incidental within the advert? And you can have both. You can have it front and center, you can have it incidentally, but work with disabled people, work with their expertise, work with people with lived experience to understand what they want to say and when they want to say it.
Martina. Hi.
Hi. Again?
Your turn now. So Martina, CoorDown's work sets the bar for authentic narratives. Assume That I Can, I love that name by the way, has become a benchmark. What is your number one rule for creative teams to make sure they are co-creating with disabled people, not just making work about them?
Oh, our number one rule is this. Disabled people must be involved before the creative idea exists, not after. Not to validate the work, not to comment on it, but to shape it. When the creative direction is already defined, it's too late. Authenticity begins when disabled people influence the initial thinking, the brief, and the narrative question. At CoorDown, we have learned something very clearly. The strongest insight come from direct experience, from the community itself. For example, the inspiration behind Assume That I Can came from Marta Sodano, a young woman with Down syndrome who spoke at the United Nations in 2019 about her school experience. And sharing her school experience, Marta revealed a truth that resonates with all of us, the self-fulfilling prophecy. When her teacher believed in her abilities, they opened the way for her success. When the expectations were lowered, they create barriers for her learning. Her words became the creative inside of our campaign, highlighting how low expectation and prejudice limit opportunity for disabled people. The reflection on the power of expectation shaped the creative idea. Then during production, Madison Tevlin, the main actor of the campaign, took it one step further. Through her performance, she showed the world that disabled people can not only participate, they can lead change, represent themselves, and create deep impact. Those words and that power came from them, not from a creative director. This is why we start every project by listening to the community, because the most meaningful insight do not emerge in a brainstorm in a creative agency. They came from the voices and lived experience of disability, people with disability. Across 14 years of global campaign, from Dear Future Mom to Not Special Need, from the Iron Chain to No Decision Without Us, we have built a model that any organization can adopt, a model based on long-term partnership. We have worked with the same creative team, directors, editors, musicians, and production partners for years. And unfortunately, no sponsor and no corporate partners. A consolidated team that knows the community deeply. That makes a huge difference. They understand the nuances, sensitivities, humor, rhythm, and every details of accessibility. We really count on this continuity and allyship that generate value. And I want to be honest, the level of co-creation is not easy, that level of co-creation, especially working with the individual with intellectual disabilities. But we have done it for years, so it is possible. Co-creation means involving disabled people in insight generation, in script development, in casting, on set, and in promoting the campaign. Not as consultant, not as symbolic present, but as people with real influence over the narrative. Then everyone does their job. The creative team transforms the insight into a creative idea. The production company makes it real with impeccable craft. The director, the musician, the editors, every professional plays their part. Every link in the chain works directly with people with disability and no intermediaries. There is collaboration and shared responsibility. So my number one rule is when disabled people truly shape the narrative, the works became more original, more culturally relevant, and far more impactful. And this is the direction our industry must move towards.
100%. And, you know, this is why I love the authentic representation tool that the Valuable 500 created. Because if you're an organization and you find yourself in a position where you don't know what to do, or you don't know where you're at, or you want to measure your progress, that is a tool that you can use because it also helps you as a company to make sure you've got accessible experiences, authentic representation, and, accurate representation and authentic narratives. And now we go to someone that we call the groovist in South Africa. And a groovist is someone that loves entertainment and dancing and live events. So, Isaac, you see the final product at your festivals. You also see who's missing. What is one practical system that everyone in this room, especially in marketing and content, can start using tomorrow to find authentic disabled talent and stories for their pipelines?
So a lot of it has to do with a lot of what was said here already, and I don't want to repeat everybody, and it's amazing to be on a panel where 10 years ago there would have never been a panel like this.
Agreed.
Where there's so much good work being done out there, and we're in a different place. Our program tries to set industry standards for the US at least, where there's not a lot of government funding. So we really rely on the independent producers that are out there. We help support production and of course, presentation of the films. We show the movies, and we show the movies that are the great ones, the ones that are doing it right.
Why will ice block? I've been wondering why you're an ice block here next to me.
Hundreds and hundreds of great movies that are, first of all, of the highest standard. So production, there are no compromises in terms of production and storytelling. And at the same time, by the way, some of the films you can see on the Fairmont here in the hotel on the channel. We got some of our films up there, so explore that and make it all worthwhile. And that's the most important thing an audience can do, is go see these films.
Yeah.
Of course, don't there's a film that did something right, that actually included disability in the right way. Go see those films. Go support those films.
I love the plug, by the way.
Oh.
Go see the films.
We'll force everyone by the end of this. We'll take you by the hand. But we look for films that have that high quality of production and are completely done authentically, and I like saying going beyond authenticity, like everyone said here, involved in the entire process, in front of and behind the camera. And we have seen a dramatic change in terms of the willingness to create this. I don't think Hollywood is there yet. Hollywood is still making mistakes. I think a lot of spaces are still making these mistakes, especially, as you put it, in the marketing world.
Yeah.
I think that's where we haven't broken through yet, but I think what we're doing is, by creating these visions that are being presented authentically, we're making the other visions passé and no longer relevant. And I think that's the direction that we need to keep pushing in. I see film as a form of education, and it's not just entertainment. And when we're watching movies, we're changing. It changes our brains. It changes our experience of the world. And this is a very powerful tool, and that's why we have to do this responsibly through and through, and make sure that the representation is absolutely authentic through and through, and know that the talent is out there. I mean, I can't take this excuse anymore when people say to me, we looked for,
but we don't know where to find
a deaf
them.
person to play this role. We looked for the right consultation, and we could. The talent is absolutely out there. We are not 10 years ago. We are now have seen over a decade of this creation. We've been around for 18 years, and we've seen this growth of the creation that's out there. And by the way, this is not just about the film industry and about marketing. This is about absolutely every industry. The world has changed.
Yeah.
And we are seeing now that the talent is there. The talent now has the experience that it needed to actually be a part of your workplace. We take our movies and bring them to every workplace and corporate settings, and show these short films to the corporations to show what the culture should look like and what the environment should look like.
Okay, so this is where I struggle as an actor and an inclusion activist. So I'm going to throw it to you. You'll hear a lot of producers that do films say that it's unfair for you to want us to cast a person that has a disability in a role if there's someone that doesn't have the disability that can perform it better. And there's a lot of examples. Jamie Foxx played Ray Charles. Kerry Washington plays, I don't remember the name of the character, but it's in The Incredibles or something. What do you say to those producers? Because they say that, what if there's an exceptional person that can portray somebody that has a disability? What do you say to that?
So there's a few different levels here. First of all, we're still leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
There's still such an underrepresentation of disability. You heard it here before in marketing. What was the percentage? It is not close to the 25% that it should be. So for leveling the playing field purposes, we need to include as many actors with disabilities as possible. But I'll say also, I mean, what you're saying, it's not only about talent, it's also about sales. Hollywood movie industry is a business.
Yeah.
And they'll say, for a business, we need Tom Cruise, who has played a person with a disability. We need Tom Cruise to play that role and not have, but how is a person with a disability ever going to become the next Tom Cruise if they're not included in these roles, if they're not included in the space? And I give folks from the industry this tip all the time.
Yeah.
Show that you're making the effort.
There we go.
Keep it throughout. All right, you know what? You need to hire Tom Cruise for your movie because that's the only way it's getting greenlit. Make sure every other actor in that movie in any kind of role has a disability. Make sure that that entire process was done with writers who actually know what they're talking about and can represent that disability and not some other disability.
Because nothing beats lived experience, right?
Absolutely.
There we go.
And it's going to raise the level of everything that Hollywood produces.
Awesome. Sam, we get to you now. You lead on accessibility at a global scale. What is the 1-minute P&G business case for accessible experiences? And what is the one and what is the one... Okay, thank you. And what is the one repeatable system you use to make this scalable across brands rather than a once-off product or campaign?
Thank you for that 1-minute question. So we've talked a lot about, creative content. Content is king, and getting it right is a must for all audiences. But how much attention are we giving to ensure that it's reaching all audiences? Like on TV, on digital platforms. So what if I was to say that, what if we were missing, at a global level, 800 million people from our advertising? For those of you who don't know, audio description and captioning is a way that people who are deaf or hard of hearing or low vision or blind use to access content. And if your content is not designed with these two accessibility features, then you're missing a massive business opportunity. In fact, it's not just for people with low or no vision or hard of hearing. The UK government did a survey and found that 61% of young people from 18 to 25 are watching television with captioning. So it's helping everybody. So, to share my personal experience, the first ever movie that I watched of James Bond was Casino Royale back in 2007. And the reason wasn't because it was the first, movie I wanted to see of James Bond. No, I wanted to see James Bond movies. But as you may know, they're full of action. And I couldn't understand what was going on in them. So for me, what changed in Casino Royale was it was the first time the James Bond movie came out with audio description. And I absolutely loved it. And I never actually watch anything without audio description except the news. Today, there's the World Health Organization says there's 2.2 billion people with low or no vision, and there's 1.5 billion people who are hard of hearing. And these numbers are obviously going to rise as the population ages. So at P&G, that's when we decided to become more intentional about making our advertising more accessible.
Yeah.
It actually started, Palissa, when back in 2017, our CMO, Mark Pritchard, was sharing an ad that featured a singing dog in a clean kitchen to the Flash, the Queen song, Flash.
Yeah.
And I was the only one in that meeting not laughing. I couldn't see what was so funny about it. And then it really dawned on me that if movies can be made with audio description, why can't we make ads with audio description and captioning?
100%. And it's such a phenomenal creation. Thank you so much. We're going to do parting shots because I'm out of time. And like I said, I run a tight ship. And we'll start with you, Isaac. You seem eager to say something.
I was eager to add in that audio description has come a long way too, but the most amazing thing is, and you mentioned that the news is the one thing you watch without audio description, and we just showed something. The audio description can be baked into the script. It can be baked into the actual film that you're making. And the news does that very well. The news is always describing what's on the screen. You don't actually have to watch the news. You could just listen to it. And if you take that approach, you're actually revolutionizing audio description in some ways. And I think I'll end with this, that's saying that accessibility is also, by creating an accessible environment, by making sure there's audio description everywhere, that there are captions everywhere, that you're creating the options for accessibility, which is something that we try to do with our streaming site and in all of our screenings that we do, and we try to constantly raise it. You're never fully accessible because we're always raising the bar and finding new ways to be more accessible. And I think that sets a tone of everyone is welcome at all times.
Definitely. Giles?
I would say look at best practice. So, for example, last year, Currys won our Diversity in Advertising Award, and they actually showcased that that's one of the most impactful campaigns they've had. And I want to recognize that Open Inclusion were the experts who were advising on that campaign.
All right. Martina?
Disabled people must have authorship, not just presence. If they are not in the room from day one with real authorial power, stop the process and redesign the team.
Sam?
I'd like to say we've made great progress with audio description and captioning in Europe and in the US, but we've not actually started the journey in Asia. And we can't do the journey alone. We need to partner with ad agencies, we need to partner with broadcasters, streaming platforms, and I invite us all to come together and let's start putting audio description and captioning into all advertising as of now.
Thank you very much. Wow, so much good has come out of this panel. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like what you said, Martina, ownership, not presence. Then we also had, Giles, you said agency, nothing about us without us. We also had involvement, have us in the room. Don't just do things without us. And listening is a critical component. Listen to your audience, especially your audience that needs to be included. And I want to close with a quick exercise that shows us that sometimes we think we're good listeners, but we're not. So everybody, please indulge me, and I mean every single person in the room, please lift up your left hand, and then please wave at me, and then make a circle, and please move the circle towards your chin. Now, how many of you went to your cheek? I bet you Sam went to the right place. So listening is very important. Listen to your audience and engage us. Now, Paul Polman said something at a conference that I had the privilege to MC, which was the Valuable 500 Africa Summit. He said, disability inclusion is good business. Now take it from a girl who at the age of 23 was a general manager of an international boxing promoting company. She knew nothing about the sport but took on the role because the company agreed to get her a driver because her visual impairment barred her from getting a driver's license in South Africa. This girl was young in a role of leadership, so she faced ageism. Nobody respected her because they thought she was little. She was also a woman in a male-dominated industry, so she faced sexism. And she was also a little bit successful as a black woman in South Africa with our history of racism. But in all the isms, she rose, and she got the company a global award for Promoter of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, that girl is me. So take it from me when I say disability inclusion is good business. And thank you all for doing good business. And thank you for listening to this panel.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Very good.